On this episode of Homeworthy, we're touring 3 homes where the warmth and charm of a Nancy Meyers movie comes to life. First, we're on Long Island, where an interior designer and content creator transformed a fixer-upper into a cozy, elegant cottage retreat. Next, we're crossing the Atlantic to Northamptonshire, England, where a property stylist has reimagined a new build with old soul charm. Finally, we're off to Nantucket, Massachusetts, where an interior designer has crafted a quintessential coastal retreat for her family. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Samantha. Welcome to my home on Long Island, New York.
This summer, spend the hottest months of the year in style with Homeworthy as we visit the most extraordinary homes around the world. From the sun-soaked shores of the Hamptons to the classic beachfronts of Nantucket to the vibrant courtyards of Morocco, be sure to subscribe to Homeworthy's summer series to make every day feel like a vacation. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
My name is Samantha Joe. I am a Long Island-based interior designer, content creator, based out of East Nantucket, New York. This home was built in 1973. The home was completely different, shag carpets, built-in planters with trees in the house, old 70s tile, and then during COVID, a flip company came in and completely built the home to look like a new build. So as soon as we walked in, the layout of the home gave me that Hamptons cottage feeling, and that's all I saw. I had a vision the second I walked through the door, even with high blue gloss kitchen cabinets, just bright white walls, and no character at all. So when we walked in, my husband, of course, he didn't see the vision right away, but I did, and I took him along each room, basically ready to give him an Excel sheet of how this can happen. So he still wasn't about it. And the home is actually in such a beautiful area. It's very Gilmore Girls, small, quaint town. And that was something that I was striving to find. And this little historic pocket comes with so much history, with the Culper Spiring nearby, and so much more, and local businesses, farmers markets, and this was everything that I really was envisioning when we were looking for homes. This is the most used room in the house. This is what we call the Nancy room, the Nancy Meyers inspired room. This is my favorite because I think this really shows off my personality the most. Taking that old world meets modern elements, fusing them together, I feel like you get a collected, intentional look. My favorite thing is to layer books. I have books actually all around the house. That's something you'll notice. If there's an interior design book, I probably have it. If there's an art book, I probably have it. This is actually the best part of the house. So when we moved in, this is obviously where the TV goes, right? And we really wanted a fireplace. Every house on the street had a fireplace built into their ranches, and we didn't get one. And we were gonna have one custom built. And then my husband and I looked at each other and we're like, we don't even have a spot for our vinyls. Like, we are such big record people that we're like, it's time. Like, let's get a good home. And this was the spot. So we invested in a really nice piece, and inside we keep all of our records. I even have more over here, and we also keep some board games in here too, in our chest. So this was a really functional area for us. Rather than just building something out of aesthetic, this was a need for us. So we invested in an amazing record player, and instead of having speakers that are usually really big on the sides, I did some research and I found a speaker that works with this record player in particular, and it's such a flawless sound. And if someone was like really looking into getting into vinyl, I 100% recommend Audio-Technica and Andover. It's amazing. The sound is beautiful. It carries through the house. We dance in here. We will be up on the couches. We will be up on the furniture, having like a little house party. Over here, this is actually one of my favorite pieces of art. I found this at HomeGoods, and this was at HomeGoods probably for like 4 months, and every time I'd go and I'd look at it and I felt like it was for me, but I kept ignoring it. And then one day it came into the store and it was on sale for like so much money off. So I'm telling you, it was such a steal, and it was time. So she came home and she filled this space perfectly. And then we have over here my traditional artists that I love to collect. So I have a lot of Impressionism art throughout this area and more interior design books for sure. Over here you'll see we had just recently added bookends. I used to have a giant gallery wall with a corner oversized chair, and that was a big like fan favorite, but I needed a little more functionality. Being a home this size, not having a basement, we need as much storage as we can. So I felt, let's put some bookcases in. And my husband, when we moved in, actually was the one that was like, this would be a perfect spot to have bookends and like a nook. So instead of building a bench, it was still perfect for a sofa. And then we have all these deep drawers, which gave us more storage. So everything that I do when it comes to adding into this house, I'm always going to be adding intentional functionality. The house needs to have function more than anything, and it can still look good. So I have a funny story. When I had the vision for this space, I wanted a rolled arm English sofa. So I went on the hunt and I went out east on Long Island to Pottery Barn, and I took my husband's truck and I said, let's just wing it. Let's just see if I find something. And I actually found this sofa, and I got it for such a great price. And I'm like, okay, this is the day, I got to do it. But the only thing is, it was supposed to rain, and I was about an hour away from home. It was like a TV show. We got this thing into the truck, and on the way home, I had to cover it with saran wrap, all that, and out of nowhere I see saran wrap flying all over the place. I felt like a Griswold moment, but somehow we got it home in one piece and not damaged at all, but it was a really funny moment. This is also another favorite piece of mine. This is a French milking stool I actually sourced from France. The turned legs in the stool, you'll see a lot of these in brutalist homes. You'll see them in a lot of contemporary homes, Spanish style homes. They honestly work with a lot of styles. So this is something I definitely recommend if you're looking for a cute little stool, because I just feel like it has so much character, and I loved layering my books with my plant. Over here you'll see I have some hurricane candle sconces. That's actually a favorite of my husband's because he loves candles so much. And instead of having to do like a hardwire sconce, you get a candle. And speaking of sconces, this is actually a battery powered sconce. So you just take it off and you charge it, and there's a little remote and it turns it right on. So there was no wire needed for these bookends. The cafe curtains. This is one of my favorite romantic touches in the home. We have them in the kitchen, and the same person that I source these through is a small local family business in Europe. Every time I talk to the shop owner, he tells me that so many people love these cafe curtains from my review that there are so many orders coming in, and that just makes me so happy because you can get drapes like anywhere, honestly, but knowing that it supported a little family really made me happy. So something I definitely love that's in my house, and knowing like where it came from. A lot of over here is either a local business, pieces I did invest in, or a lot of vintage pieces. So This is one of my favorite things. I went on the hunt looking for the perfect botanical prints. And a lot has changed like throughout the last 3 years. I had usually one large piece and it just didn't do it. This filled out the wall, and because of the vertical frame, it definitely adds height to the 8-foot ceilings. Over here was another Facebook Marketplace find, and I got this for like probably $25, and I just changed the hardware, and this is my favorite lamp, and it has a sister, and that's in the dining room, and I just changed the little shade to a pleated shade. You notice a lot of my color palette, I stick with the same like natural materials with creams and earthier tones. If I add some pattern play, I love adding stripes. Over here, another thing you'll notice in my house, I love wicker jute, any of that. So this little frame of my daughter is one of my favorites because it has the office in the back and she's playing chess, these little ducks. And in here, we have all of our little Polaroid pictures. So every time we take them, we always just put them in here so we can sit and look at them. More interior design books, of course. And then the comfiest sofa ever. It's a deep-seated sofa from Pottery Barn, and this was probably my favorite purchase in the house because I can honestly sleep on this. It's so good. So in the living room, we wanted a nice layout where it's functional. So when we have guests over, and I didn't want to hide this area with like a bigger sofa or 2 accent chairs. I wanted you to be able to walk in and still feel that inviting feeling. So I placed 2 of these ottomans, and my favorite part about them is the pleated skirt. I think they're so darling and charming, and honestly, this is timeless. It's so classic. These are just gonna grow with the house. This is actually a new add to the house, and we're all obsessed. I love how chunky, I love the contemporary feeling in here. This gives me like 1991, 1993 Architectural Digest, which I actually have a lot of the magazines from then. So this issue is actually from 1991. This is also one of my recent favorite finds, is this Ralph Lauren floor lamp. I was on the hunt for this for like a year, and one day I just walked in and boom, it was there. And she had to come home, and I love her. And it's silver, and if you notice in my house, I have a lot of brass. I'm more of a brass person. It's such a romantic feeling, but there is something about that classic feeling of like silver. So I definitely mix a lot, and I try to do it effortlessly because I like it. So now we're gonna head into the office, which is a room that's gone viral a few times on my home account. This is the office. So my husband and I both share this office, and I wanted it to feel like a mix of us. I wanted that masculine Ralph Lauren equestrian mixed old money kind of vibe, and honestly it just like happened. We have our little chase lounge. I have some cool stories about finds in here actually. So this was my favorite Facebook Marketplace find. I got this for $30. I remember this woman was just giving it away, and she was like, I just need to get rid of stuff and I'll take it for any price. And I was like, 30. And honestly, it works beautifully with the green paint color. This is Cardamom by Farrow & Ball in dead flat. It's such a rich green with brown undertones. So if you look, this kind of looks like tapestry. The green in the painting definitely pulls and works cohesively with the green on the walls beautifully. And the brass just pops. This was actually another Facebook Marketplace find. This old pine desk. It has a mix of woods. I've been wanting to definitely stain it darker, but I kind of love how lived in it looks. So I haven't touched it yet. This is the light that I really feel like grounds the space. I wanted to add a little modern in here so it wasn't too traditional, and the natural materials I really feel like add such a pop and that cozy feeling in here. This is a really fun story too, because my husband and I, for my birthday, I wanted to go to estate sales. And we found this old house out in wine country with a massive barn in the back. And they were just getting rid of anything in the house. This was hidden behind like decrepit mirrors. I just felt like it was something. I saw this little corner and I was on the hunt for a painting like this for so long, and I got this for $10. It was wild. So if you see, I love horses. That's actually something about me. I grew up going to an island called Chincoteague Island, Virginia, and during the last week of July, which is actually coming up, they do a pony swim from the beach to the little historic town, and they swim in the harbor. It was really nice to add a lot of horse elements into this room because I love horses. If you see here, I'm always going to display accomplishments as well. My husband is a writer-director, and he just recently won some Best Picture and first-time directors in some festivals in Europe, so I'm so proud of him. And this is his director's chair. And this is one of my favorite things now because my daughter will sit up here while my husband's right here editing, and he loves shooting videos all the time, home videos, and he'll edit them. And he's just such a good storyteller, and he'll sit right here and she sits and watches him. So this is a really special, cozy room. This is a really cool story as well. I went onto Facebook Marketplace and I saw this woman selling another vase. So when I reached out to her, she actually said to me she was following me on social media and she had something for me that she felt like I would like and I can have it. It was so wild. So it was this vase and she just let me have it. And it was made for the office for this magnolia tree. And that was really funny. That was wild. I literally was trying to get it into the car and a garbage man came by and he helped me get it into the car. And then just like that, my neighbor brought it into the car. So it was perfect timing because this thing cannot move. Like if we ever sold the house, I'm pretty sure that this is coming with the house. And over here, we had an estate sale recently by my house, and it was outside, and it was about 10 different antique dealers, and I found this painting outside and it had no frame, nothing. The back is kind of ruined. They don't know the artist, but I scored this for $15 and it's absolutely stunning. The brushstroke, the color tones, the palette, it works beautifully in the office. And I actually had a frame that was meant for it. So good thing is never throw out frames or lampshades. This might be a small room, but it's like small and mighty because so much goes down in here. Even music, my husband will play the guitar and he'll sing with my daughter. And we just get cozy. Like I could sit right here on the Chase Lounge and my husband will be up there playing the guitar and my daughter just singing, and it's just really special to have the elements of each of us into this room. I always say my home, my personality definitely shines within my style because I mix. You get a lot of character in each room. So my living room, we always call like the Nancy room. That's the Nancy Meyers inspired room, that Hamptons white sofa. My office is our little study that collected old world meets modern, Ralph Lauren. My kitchen is one of my favorites because it was a blue modern kitchen and we completely changed the vibe. We went full on English cottage, and that's probably my favorite thing because that gives me the same Nancy Meyers feeling, but it also gives me a timeless cozy feeling, and since the kitchen is our favorite place to like be in all the time. Next, we'll go to the kitchen. This is my cozy English cottage inspired kitchen. This is the room where the magic happens. This is where we dance. This is where we sing. This is where we cook amazing meals. My husband and I love to cook. I feel like he's like my perfect sous chef, and we'll have date nights and whip up something just by eye. Or we go into one of the cookbooks I'm a big fan of having cookbooks on display, especially in the kitchen. It makes it feel more cozy and practical and functional. When we moved in, this whole kitchen was the exact same layout. We never gutted it. We wanted to do it financially smart. So we kept the bodies and we swapped out the doors, and we actually painted it because the color it came we weren't fond of. So then my husband painted it. And then there used to be two cabinets right here. And my millwork contractor, Jim, who's done my entire house. He's like my partner in crime. I have every vision detail that I want, and he's on board, and he just made it happen with these custom peg shelves. They're so divine. I want to put them into my laundry little closet because they're so sturdy and functional. We have our little mugs and our fruit baskets. The only thing that we had kept in this kitchen was the countertop, which we do plan on swapping out for an OG beveled creamier tone. So that's something to look out for and stay tuned. And then the best artwork in my house is on my refrigerator. The artist is my daughter, and I love a busy refrigerator. I feel like a lot of people tend to think I love everything in its space, but there is something about the refrigerator. She comes in here, she'll sit, and every day there's new artwork all the time. And her latest was her own little picture frame and this little letter for us that I love. She has her name everywhere. This was her recent project. And if you see, I have a lot of Long Island in here as well. So there's these paintings and these little magnets, and this was a painter from Long Island, and I got this at the Rivoli Center, which back then was a bank, and there's also an artist, and the most gorgeous Long Island themed paintings. I have these little ornate little magnets with some tapestry inside, a favorite restaurant of ours nearby. And this is a fun fact about me. I love the Gilded Age. I nerd out. We can have a whole discussion about the Gilded Age, and I have the Breakers magnet on my refrigerator from my bachelorette party. We went there and it was amazing. And we also horseback rode on the beach. It was great. My horse actually was not broken, and we just sped off into the distance like a movie. I should have had a dress on, and we ran up the dunes. It was great. Like I said, the house was very modern. This entire kitchen had high gloss blue cabinetry and a silver backsplash. So we removed all the silver backsplash. We added shiplap, which honestly is such a timeless cottage aesthetic, and I don't think you ever have to worry about something like this going out. Every time we do anything with our house, if I'm going to add millwork, I'm going to add any like specific design, I have to choose something intentionally and timeless because I want to do it once. This was something that we recently added underneath to add a little more charm with some corbels. And I honestly feel like it completed that custom built-in feeling with this kitchen. And then another decision that I had to give more of that built-in look was to cover up the toe kick. This was inspired by Duval Kitchens. They have more of that English custom inspiration and aesthetic. And another thing I really love about white paint with custom, it gives me that kind of Titanic feeling. That's another part of me. I love the Titanic, and you'll see like little millwork decisions that I actually took from Titanic in small doses. When we moved in, we obviously didn't want to do a full kitchen reno because this was not long after the pandemic. So again, everything was cost efficient, but there's ways to hide as well. And we had invested in new appliances. My whole plan over here is to actually take this out and put some dish racks in to complete that English cottage look. And instead of getting a cabinet door to match to like go over the washer, we have a little magic trick. So I got this custom made on Etsy, and it's just a little dishwasher cover with a little pleated ticking stripe apron. One of my favorite views in the kitchen is how you can see the office from here and how cozy it looks with the Chase Lounge. A lot of people wonder where we do laundry in our cute little cozy small home, and we actually have a laundry closet. So in these doors, we made a cute little laundry cozy closet. And what's great is it's right here, the dryer. So I'll pick up everything and then I can go right onto the counter and fold. So it's actually super functional, to be honest. I love it there. And then you just hide it. So there was really no need for a laundry room. Originally in the listing photos, this room was another sitting room. And because our home is only a 1,600 square foot house, we don't need 2 living rooms for 3 of us. So this was actually the perfect size for a dining room. It's welcoming, especially the kitchen right here, so easy to host. And most of the time, we don't really even eat at the table. I mean, for dinner we will, but we love just kind of getting really cozy up over here, and we'll have dinner here. My favorite thing about the dining room is the old world meeting modern, but if you notice, there's a lot of Parisian doses, even some Americana mixed in there. This light was my dream light, and it's absolutely stunning. It's the most romantic lantern. It's such an impact piece, and I always say in the dining room, go big, go for the big mama, get the big light, and it's a conversation starter. People come in and go like, wow, like, and we just talk about the light. This is actually a teak indoor-outdoor table, but I loved that Cotswold field. So I tried to mix it with some of these vintage rush chairs, which was a really fun adventure we went to New Jersey for, and everybody loves these chairs. I have these ticking stripes, little seat covers on them. The dark walnut against like the lighter rush is beautiful against this Jake Arnold handmade jute. Over here, this was actually another Facebook Marketplace find. This woman redid the entire thing. I actually changed out the hardware to swan neck hardware. That's more my personality, and I love a romantic touch in anything. I feel like throughout the house, anything that you see is brass usually has a romantic intention. Again, this is the sister lamp from the living room, my favorite lamps, and more family photos. This is a picture of my daughter. It's my favorite picture actually of the backyard, of her looking out into the nature preserve. And then that's my husband and I. I have a friend that gave me this little plate. And this is so this is funny. Everybody thinks this is real. Like I sourced this, and it's actually like super light. It said it came from Portugal, from Home Goods, but I don't know. It's not as vintage, but I love it there. Because we are on Long Island, another thing I like to do is add some coastal elements. So if you notice in the living room, a lot of that white sofa, you get a lot of that Hamptons feel, but I do like to add some of that, like these birds. I like to add a coastal anchor, my dinner bell. I'm not gonna ring it because it's gonna get really loud. Over here, you can see some of my ironstone collection displayed. And in the kitchen, I actually have a lot more on the shelves. When it came to our table, I was really on the fence of, do I go fully upholstered all around? Do I do a mix and match? But instead, I actually have these rolled back armchairs from Sixpenny. These are that upholstered classic pleated skirt, and I have them at the head. My dining chairs, I wanted them to pop. So we had the white at the ends and the dark walnut with the rush. It gives this a little more of a laid back, charming, still classic, but you get that Cotswold magic in there. In this room, the paint color was a really big intentional decision. I love cream paints. I love white paint. So throughout my house, there's actually so many different versions and varieties of white paint. And in here, I wanted to keep it still clean and classic because I know a lot of my moody touches would pop against it. So we had this cotton ball white on the inside, and on our board and batten, I did a nice linen white. So I matched the ceiling to the crown and the board and batten. And if you look at the millwork around the room, this was just recently added. We used to just have a board and batten wall right there. And then Jim came in and worked magic and gave us more of that custom look. When we moved in, there was a door, like a construction door, one of those like builder, there's no windows or anything. So when we added this custom door and the hardware, the traditional hardware, I knew that this room needed more of that traditional vibe. Even over here, I actually have a Italian tapestry on display. So when you walk in through the front door, this is something that you see as soon as you walk in. But I'm in love with the millwork. He did such a beautiful job, like always. And he even made me a custom radiator cover. So we're gonna have those like built throughout the house. They give more of that custom feeling. That gives me the Titanic feeling that I love. This piece is so special. This was our first piece we ever bought for the house. And there was a woman leaving the state and she needed to get rid of it. This thing is solid wood. It is so heavy. So my husband and I gasped. We were like, we need this. And ever since, I'm like, this was made for our home and it's so beautiful. It definitely was not originally black, but I love the black against the linen white. And it displays all my things. And again, I love wicker, so you'll see a lot of chunky baskets around the house. This is my entryway. This is the first thing you see when you walk into my home. So I wanted to show a bit of a collected look, yet lived in, and showing off my family. So my favorite thing that we did on this table, I always keep it, regardless if I change anything, I always have my family photos here. This gives me inspiration from Mrs. Doubtfire and Beethoven, like the 90s family movies. They always had silver frames out. So that was very intentional. Another thing I love to do when because I love art, so I love to layer my art. I'll have an oversized piece, I'll throw in a few smaller pieces. Even if there's a mirror, I feel like it gives a lot of impact when you walk into the space. There's a lot of visual interest, and there's always gonna be a candle. I have candles everywhere throughout my house. And this is actually one of my favorite finds. I sourced this through Etsy from Italy, and it's an Italian alabaster lamp. And when this came, it actually didn't work at first. And then recently I tinkered with it and it worked. So this is a pride and joy for me to be out here. This is another favorite find of mine, was this tapestry chair. Again, a lot of my inspiration for my design comes from 90s nostalgic movies. I love that contemporary feel, but anything that was like Mrs. Doubtfire, Beethoven, they always had a lot of tapestry. If you remember Mrs. Doubtfire's tapestry bag, that's basically me with pillows and chairs. So this was definitely one of my favorite finds, and I scored this from a woman for like $30 on Facebook Marketplace. It's a pride and joy. And then over here, you'll catch around the house, I have a lot of ironstone plates hanging on the walls. That gives me that Nancy Meyers, Hamptons feeling. Again, the same 90s nostalgia. I love ironstone. I have a big collection of it, so you will definitely see them stacked or hanging on the walls. If you look above, when we moved in, we wanted to add some interest to the walls and the ceilings. So our ceilings are actually 8 foot. And I feel like a lot of people think that you have to have 9 or higher to add beams into your house, and you definitely don't. So adding the beams, the original plan, we wanted to do coffered. And then because there's this area of my home that now brings you into the bedrooms, we couldn't really do that. So I said, we still need the charm. And I love that English cottage Cotswold charm. So we carried through the beams into the living room. And if you can tell, a lot of that romantic style from the entryway carries through into the living room. What do I love most about my home? That it's us. I feel like when a lot of people think when you're decorating a home, you have to go with what's trending and you stick with what's coming out as like new items, all this all the time. But I feel like when you walk into our house, my favorite thing I always hear is, wow, this is Sammy. That's Sammy. And that's Billy. Like, that's my husband. And I just love that people see us within every single room. This is our little bunny's room, and it's so darling and so cute and so classic. She actually helped me pick out a lot of stuff in this room. She's gonna be 5, but she's definitely got an eye. She picked out this rug. This is a Bridgerton inspired rug from Ruggable, and absolutely loves it. I don't think we're ever gonna get rid of it. Her cute little doll house from Magnolia with her little mice friends. And if you see, she has some more. We collect these little people. They're so cute. We have a bunch of them like around. One's in a bathtub right now. They're so cute. And then my daughter actually picked out this little thing, and we had this little mouse from a local shop, and he had a little umbrella. He's so cute, he's a little English chap. A lot of the pieces in this room, I wanted it to still feel childlike. I didn't want to design it and it just be like, oh, here's a little museum room that's really pretty. I wanted her to add her personality in here, and she loves pink and she loves princesses. So we have one of her little dresses over here, her little Rapunzel dress, and her little princess pillow. We're a big Disney family, so this is something you'll find that pops in this room. We have a collection of Minnie ears, Mickey ears from Disney World. So in the room, I really wanted to add that charming cottage feeling. So we have all of her bunnies. We have this beautiful oil painting pillow. So, and it has bunnies on there, of course. These are the cutest little frame pictures. This is from Petal Lane, and they're very lightweight, so if that ever fell, we're not worried. It's so light, but they have the cutest paintings on them. We added a little bookcase over here as well. My daughter is a big book kid, so we have some of her favorite books on display, and then we also have her own little bookshelf. And the books keep going, but we have a library bag as well that's usually over here that's full of books as we go through so many. And we wanted to make it functional in here as well. So a lot of toys and miscellaneous things go into these baskets, which keeps it nice and clean. But she is a kid, and this is also another favorite thing that I love. The room is designed, but it's still hers, and something that she has over here are stickers and her name Elizabeth from when she started school, her first little name tag. And that gives me like the 90s feelings when we were younger and we decorated our own room. So as much as it's classic and beautiful, I still wanted her to have her footprint in here. This is definitely a favorite. I got this little chair on Facebook Marketplace as well. It's so adorable. She always puts her stuffed animals on it, and I honestly think even when she outgrows it, it's something she's always going to have in her room to play with her stuffed animals. This was a vase I originally had in my console table, and my daughter loved it so much she begged for it to be in her room with flowers. So we brought them in here, and she likes to decorate again, so a lot of this was really all Ellie, my daughter. Something cute with her bedding. So this is her canopy, which gives her that princess feeling. We usually tuck it back over here, and you can't see, but we actually have a duck in there. So she looks at him and talks to him sometimes when she's reading a story. And we have this cute little light. So when we tuck the pillows to the side at night, she can sit and read her books. Again, she's a big book kid, so she's either doing a look and find or just skimming through books, even if she doesn't even know how to fully read it. If you notice in her bedroom, we have a lot of repetitive bunnies or floral. So I really wanted to put that together in here, as that's her main theme, where you have that princess vibe, but you have a lot of that girly touch, and adding the bunnies around and the floral definitely is her personality. And as you see, we have more bunnies and more floral. Her bedding is floral. We have this beautiful floral painting on her wall. That was actually, this is my favorite painting in her room because the dark walnut frame pops beautifully against the white paint. And just like any 90s kid, she thinks she's a 90s kid, so we had to get the stars on the ceiling. Now let me take you to our latest project. So on the way to the latest project, which was our recent bathroom renovation, I do want to show our hallway. I love these oversized, contemporary framed pictures. This is Ellie, and this is my little family. I'm very big on having photos of your family around the house. That's what makes a house a home. Again, we have the millwork done by Jim, and we added romantic oval knobs in brass. So as you see, we still have that contemporary, mixed, classic, timeless little finishing touches within the hallway. All right, so this is my baby, my favorite project as of recently that we've done. I put so much thought into this bathroom. I wanted it to feel like, again, kind of how my bedroom has that hotel-esque feeling. I was inspired by the Plaza, the Marlton in New York City, and even the Grand Floridian in Disney World. But I also had to take that and put my own take on it. So there's some moody touches. So for a small space, we had to really think about every decision that went into this bathroom. I'm telling you, everything was such a crucial decision, as in just where our chair rail is gonna go to our picture rail. And because of the size, there used to be 2 sinks and we never used the second sink. So I decided to do a standalone vanity with a custom OG beveled countertop. This is actually a cream marble. This is what I would love in my kitchen. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's such a romantic tone in here. And again, you'll see brass. I love a pleated shade. And if you come over here, this is our little retreat. This is our freestanding tub. And another thing that we love in here was the mahogany toilet seat cover with the brass handle. This added such a refined look in the bathroom that it pops, and the mahogany made me want to add some more dark touches. So we have this gorgeous lantern above, and this Turkish runner that I sourced from Turkey, and this is probably my dream rug. I wish it was even bigger because I would love this somewhere else in the house. It's so gorgeous. And honestly, like, it might be small, but I just feel like it's small and mighty and grand, and we're never gonna have to redo it because it's timeless. I'm very proud of how this came out, and I absolutely love it. Home to me means more than what it looks like. Like, I can decorate this entire house to my personality, my husband's taste, but I need it to feel lived in. I need it to feel intentional, not decorated. I need it to feel collected. And every little piece tells a story within our house. And when I get to show you around, you'll see so many little moments that I've had little stories to my little finds. And each room tells more of the memories between me and my family, us dancing in the living room, up on the couch, blasting like our records. And no matter what, I think a home is my family. And I think that's what makes it even more fun to decorate because it's ours. Homeworthy, it's been great. Thank you for coming, and I hope to see you again soon.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Louisa from Northamptonshire. Welcome to my home.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Louisa and I'm a content creator and property stylist based in Northamptonshire, England, and welcome to my home. When I first saw this home, I say when we first saw it, we actually bought it off plan, so we didn't get to actually step into it until a good 6 months later. So it's a new build home, and basically it was a blank space, a white box. So I have been on a mission ever since to put some character into it and really make it my own. So that is what I've been doing for the past 5 years. Okay, so this is the living room, and I'd say this is the coziest room of the house. It's quite dark in here day to day, so I added in a lot of lamps, and yeah, this is where we come out to chill at night, and yeah, it's just really nice cozy space. We actually built this whole TV unit and fireplace and gave everything a lick of paint. This colour is Old White from Farrow & Ball, and then we just added in some lovely rustic tones. I love my wooden coffee table and jute rug. I think just adding in texture and layers kind of really builds up the warmth to a space. And I decided to put a mirror on this side of the room because it's only got one window in this room, so it kind of just makes the light bounce a bit more. But yeah, I'd say this area was my favourite because I just like to style it up seasonally. So this time of year I've just added in my lovely flowers for summer and obviously my antique books as well. To be honest, this artwork is really done by me because I needed to fill the frame, and I don't really know what it is. It could be a lake, it could be some woods, I have no idea, but I just went with the colour scheme of blues and greens and came up with that. So yeah, there's one on this side and one on the opposite side. So yeah, they're actually done by me. So this coffee table is elm wood, so it's really heavy, but I just love the look of it. And then obviously I've added a nice little rechargeable lamp from Amazon, some other like rustic wooden trays and baskets, and then my coffee table books that I love collecting. And yeah, this is kind of like a area where I swap out seasonally. So I swap out the flowers seasonally, and yeah, it changes from season to season. I like to mix it up throughout the year. This was like the one thing that we bought first for the house, so this is probably the one that I haven't changed, but I would like to change because it is just a little bit too big for the space, I think. And I've actually covered it with linen tablecloths because I don't like the colour underneath. It just looks a bit too cold for this space. And once we painted the whole space, it kind of really stood out as to be really cold colour. So yeah, I've just warmed it up with some lovely linen tablecloths and lots of cushions in my favourite colours. So very cosy. This is probably the least used space, to be honest. No one has actually sat in this chair before, to be honest, apart from my dog. But yeah, no, we've kind of used it as more of a storage area. So we store shoes and stuff in that basket, and just little bits here and there that just get in the way. We just store them like in this area. When it is Christmas, the whole space takes up like Christmas tree, and just, yeah, it just turns into really Santa's grotto from here. But in summer, there's not really much going on in this space, to be honest, apart from my olive tree. Okay, so welcome to my kitchen, and this is actually a kitchen diner, so it's very much all a big space for entertaining and hosting. And we obviously bought the house off plan, so we had to select a kitchen colour and worktop and handles all off plan, and the only thing that we've kept is the worktop because I just love it. So I actually painted all of these cabinets myself, and it went from a really dark navy to a lovely green colour, and then we retiled the whole back area. And this actually used to be a very ugly kind of metal extractor fan, and I got my dad asked him very nicely if he could build a kind of built-in extractor just to make it look a bit more cottagey and a bit more less modern. I just prefer a traditional kitchen, and obviously went with the shaker style cabinets to match. And yeah, this is it so far. And recently I've just added a nice stripy blind that I think softens the area a bit more. And obviously I've got all my antique bits on the shelving. These are, I'd say this one was actually from HomeSense. That one is from an antique store, and these are, I think, they were from my auntie actually, she just gave me those. But anything that looks rustic and old, and this is basically my whole colour scheme in a nutshell. Greens, blues and a nice beigey tone is what I go for when I'm looking for stuff like that. So you'll see that a lot around my house. With chopping boards, I like to collect them because in this house there's an awful lot of plugs and sockets, so I like to actually just use them as decorative purposes and hide all the unsightly plug sockets. So they don't actually get used in this house, but they are just for decoration, and I can't stop buying them, to be honest. I keep finding old ones, new ones, but yeah, I particularly like the rustic ones behind. I think they work really nicely. Okay, so from the kitchen to the diner, and I kind of created a space where it kind of just flows all together, and the main central point is my gorgeous antique table that I got for my 30th birthday. I know that's weird to ask for a table for my birthday, but I just fell in love with it and I had to take it home with me. So yeah, it's an old French farmhouse table, and it is a bit worn and loved, but yeah, it is one of my favourite parts to sit at in the morning with my coffee and do some work. And yeah, this kind of area is a mishmash of cosy seating and dining for hosting, and also just a nice space for me to sit here and look out onto the garden. And this dresser was actually a Facebook marketplace find, and it started off life as just a radiator cover, but this wall was just so blank and I didn't know what to do with it because obviously the radiator was here. So I found this dresser top on Facebook Marketplace, gave it a lick of paint, and yeah, just styled it. And it's a really nice way of displaying all my antiques and all my plates that I collect along the way, and some artwork. This one I actually painted myself. I copied it from a Pinterest picture that I saw, and I thought I'm just gonna have a go. So that's up there. These Turkish pots, I'd say, are probably one of my favourites. I've had them for years, but they always just, I don't know if it's just the tone and the depth and the rusticness of them, but I just really love that they come as a pair. And yeah, happy I found those because they're quite hard to find these days. But yeah, mainly just like plates and rustic pots. I have a bit of an obsession with rustic pots, so every time I go shopping, antique shopping, I always come back with a pot or a vase or something like that. So yeah, there's always somewhere to put it. So the chairs here I actually found on eBay, and they're old chapel chairs from a church, and I think I paid like £30 for all of them. They did need a bit of a repair, I have to say, but they're actually not too bad. Like, for a rustic chair, they hold up pretty well. So yeah, I've got 4 of those, and then I've just got 2 kind of more armchairs either side. I just thought a mismatch of chairs just to add to my antique-y, cottagey feel would be quite nice, and just adds a bit more texture really. For my job, I have to set up tables in loads of different properties, so I feel like tablescapes are my thing. So anything I can get, like layering, floral displays, I just love doing it, to be honest. So any opportunity to lay a table, I am here. I've got a mismatch of loads of different things really. Stuff from high street Next, stuff from Amazon, stuff from, they're actually faux flowers from a local place called the Suffolk Nest. And yeah, fresh flowers from my friend who's a florist, Eden Wild. I just love setting the table, even if it's like for 2 people, I would still set it to just make it really cozy, and yeah, just something I love doing really. These were part of the whole kitchen layout. So originally I did want to rip them out and make like a bit of a kitchen island, like seating area. But thinking about it, this whole table kind of takes up quite a lot of room, so it wouldn't really work with the flow of like going out into the garden. So we've kept it the same, and now I just use it as like a little storage area and a place where I can actually keep all my antique pots and hide them away. It is a nice kind of area for styling, and where I keep all my books as well, which is quite nice. It's forever changing with the seasons, so it is quite nice to like swap bits in and out. This whole room was just totally blank, so this is actually my area where I like to film stuff for Instagram. So this obviously had to be panelled to add a bit more interest in the background, and then I just added in some lights which are from Amazon, and they're actually not wired in, they're just on a rechargeable light bulb, so really handy. And yeah, it just adds a bit more coziness to this side of the room, because I have got a few lamps in the kitchen, but I just want to add without kind of going too crazy of like floor lamps and other lamps, just a nice way of adding warmth to the space without it looking too cluttered. A new build versus an older property, I would say we wanted something easy for our first home, and easy being I was quite new to interior styling, and I didn't really know what kind of style I wanted to create, being with my first home. So yeah, I think a new build is probably the easiest option for us at that date, but moving forward I would love to live in a character property, period property in the countryside, so that's my next goal. I have always loved gardening from a young age, and it's ever since our mum used to take me and my sisters out to garden, stately homes, and drag us around the garden. So I've kind of fallen in love from my mum, the love of gardening. And when we moved in, it was obviously just turfed. It was just grass and a bit of patio. And I've always had a vision of creating like a little corner of quiet and peace just in a garden. And I've loved cottage gardens as well. So I've kind of done a mix of modern and cottage garden, just so it doesn't look so out of place in a new build. So yeah, I've always loved gardening, and my mum is always round bringing me new plants and telling me what not to plant and what to plant. So yeah, it's been a labour of love, and it's taken probably about 2 full years to get it to how it is today. But yeah, I'm forever changing things and moving things around. It's just been, I just love it. I love gardening, and if I could sit out there all day, then I would. And onto the garden, and this was also a blank space, just grass, so it took a long time to figure out what we wanted, and I wanted almost like a cosy living area but outside, and I think this little space here just really kind of sets the tone, and it's very informal, no tables or place settings, it's just a nice outdoor sofa and somewhere to relax and have a coffee and a catch up with my friends. So obviously I absolutely love hydrangeas. I've tried to grow blue ones, but they've not worked out well, so we're opting with the hydrangea Annabelles, which are working really well this year actually. So I've added, this was my first one, I thought I'd test it out, and then I've added in lots more going down the whole border, and I've added in some new additions over there just to brighten up that space. So next year they'll be really at their best, so I'm looking forward to that. But my colour scheme here is basically purples, blues and whites, and obviously greens. So yeah, I've kept it very minimal and lots of repetition along in the borders, and also some really nice kind of cottage garden plants as well, which I love. It's really gone to town this year, so yeah, I'm really happy with it, and I'm gonna go and pick some hydrangeas to put into a vase later, so I'm looking forward to that. This is my first ever kind of thing of gardening, and ever since I started with a few pots on my patio, I bought myself an olive tree, and I've had a lot of mistakes along the way, but I think just start off small in like pots, see how you feel, and you can move stuff around, and yeah, then it just kind of takes over. You have an addiction to gardening, and I never thought I'd say this, but gardening is like my number one thing that I want to do at the weekend. So yeah, I just think once you're like potting up things, doing your own thing, you'll just come into your own and love it. I have got a lot of watering cans. I could probably see about 4 so far. I like to collect like antiques, and my speciality is antique watering cans, so yeah, there's lots dotted around, and yeah, I just love kind of mixing old and new together. Many pots I have are old ones, and yeah, I just kind of find things along the way and mix it all together. Whenever it's like a nice day, you will find me here with a book, and especially in the evenings because it's so low down that it's not overlooked. So you can really just snuggle up with my dog and read a good book and have a glass of wine. And this is like my little area of sanctuary basically. But yeah, I've actually upholstered these recently because they were very just not the right grey, very like purpley or weird colour. So yeah, I had some fabric left over from my bed and I upholstered them, and they seem to have worked out pretty well so far, but we'll see how we go because yeah, it's my first time doing upholstering for outdoor furniture, so we will see. But yeah, this is my newest area and I'm quite happy with it so far. I want to add a little table maybe in the future, but so far so good. It has evolved. When we first moved in, it was 5 years ago, so a lot has changed and I've painted pretty much every single thing going, but I'd say probably most recently I've been inspired by the whole Nancy Meyers and more of a like coastal American feel, and I just love mixing blues and greens together, and yeah, I just love that whole era of like I used to grow up watching The Parent Trap, and obviously The Holidays, one of like my favourite films. So yeah, I've been very inspired by films and movies like that. To transform a blank space, such as like a new build or an apartment, I would say live in it for a while because I most definitely rushed into buying things that I regret. And yeah, my style has evolved and it's always evolving, but I'd say the quick fail-safe way to transform a space is lamps everywhere, never the big light, and probably paint colours. Warming up a space is key, especially new builds, obviously they're just all painted white, so yeah, it's transformed the space, just painting walls. So yeah, I know my paint charts very well after this. So now we're upstairs in our house and I'm going to talk you through what I've done in the bedroom. So this is our main bedroom and I really wanted to have a really nice warm cozy space, so we colour drenched the whole room in the colours Stony Ground from Farrow & Ball, and yeah, as you can see I love my cushions, so I've collected those over the years, and obviously love a bed linen as well. And the bed here used to be a horrible grey colour, so I actually upholstered that as a little project to do, so I think that worked really well actually, just to kind of add a bit more texture against the wall and really kind of make it into this whole Nancy Meyers style coastal farmhouse bedroom that I just love. So yeah, and then the picture was, I can't even remember where that was from, but I've just collected that along the way, and then 2 wall lights just to add a bit more room in the space because it is a small room. And we've got small bedside tables, so I couldn't really add lamps to the tables, so we went for wall lights, and I think it works a lot better in the space, just to kind of draw your eye up and make it look and feel a bit bigger than it actually is. But yeah, other than that, it's all about cushions and cosy bed linens in here, to be honest. I panic bought all of the lights when we first moved in, and they only came in the colour black, so I've actually used the rub and buff on them to make them look a bit more antique. But yeah, don't look too closely because I have done a bad job. But yeah, it's a work in progress, and I do want to change all the light fittings. But yeah, for now, this will have to do. But yeah, just to kind of add a bit more warmth, but I never switch on that light anyway. It's always these lamps that go on. I always go for like lightweight linen feel curtains because I just think privacy on a new build is quite hard to come by. So anything that still lets light in, but you want some privacy, then these are probably the best. And yeah, they're just really linen look is what I like to go for, to be honest. So I got into content creation probably about 8 years ago now, and it started off because my sister also did it. So I was actually her photographer and her +1 to all the events. So we kind of just fell into it naturally like that. And then since probably about 2 years ago, we started doing property styling with a local estate agent, and yeah, it's going really well, and we've learnt so much along the way, and it's really helped kind of with my own vision of my home as well, how I'd like to style it. And yeah, I feel like it's kind of, I've come into my own with interior styling recently. Okay, so this room is probably the most recent room that we have done, and it's my dressing room slash office, I would say. Mainly a dressing room because I'm always forever changing my outfits. But yeah, this was actually an old IKEA unit that we upcycled and gave it a new lease of life and created a whole wardrobe space along this wall. And we basically wanted to have an office space but also lots of storage in this room. So yeah, this is what we've come up with, and a lot of this space is painted in, I think it's the same colour as the kitchen. This is Schoolhouse White from Farrow & Ball, and then the cabinetry and the island unit is Drop Cloth from Farrow & Ball. So yeah, it's very much a neutral base and kind of somewhere where it's neutral enough to like go with my clothes, so they don't like clash with the colours. And then yeah, I just needed a maximum storage basically. I've done many clear outs of my closet over the years, and I've probably just simplified it to everything that I wear day to day. And I've simplified it to about 4 colours. And it is actually, like, it's true what they say, when you style your house, you actually wear what you style your house like as well. So yeah, it's very much the same colour palette of greens, blues and beiges, to be honest. So it's made my life a lot easier, simplifying my wardrobe and picking out those key colours that I love, both in my house and to wear. This one I found at an antique shop, and I didn't really know where it was going to go in the house. So it's found its home here for now, but I might move it around, who knows. But yes, I think this is an old French wall sconce to, I don't really know how old it is, but I just loved it. So yes, it came home with me and found its home in my dressing room. And yeah, I've got lots of different like baskets at the top and some other antique finds. Every room has probably got an antique pot in. So yeah, you'll know it's my house when there's antique pots everywhere, to be honest. I think this is probably the most like we could do with the space as a storage point of view, but still make it as a workable dressing room. And I film in here quite a lot. I do like my outfit, get ready with me's on Instagram. So it's a workable space, and this island unit I upcycled as well. So it used to be 2 old IKEA cabinets. We put them both together back to back, so we've got double storage either side, and then added on a top made out of MDF, and then I've just painted it all. Just drenched the whole room, to be honest. How I want people to feel as they step into my home is cosy, lived in and welcoming, because I've always got a cup of tea ready for them and a biscuit or two. The word home means to me probably a lot of things really, mainly family, warmth, and also because I love styling. I'm forever styling things, so yeah, I work from home. I'm always here. To have warmth and coziness in my home is probably my goal, but yeah, I'm a homebody, so what can you expect? Homeworthy, it was so lovely showing you around in my home in Northamptonshire, but I have to go now, so I'll see you later.
Hi, Homeworthy.
I'm Molly Young.
And I'm Jess Bowers.
Welcome to my home in Nantucket.
Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Molly Young.
And I'm Jess Bowers, and we are the co-founders of BY Interiors.
And we are here at my home in Nantucket, Massachusetts. My husband and I started coming here when we were dating. I had come as a child with my family, but I kind of brought him up here to see the island, and we just loved it. We knew we wanted to get married up here. And when we decided to have our wedding up here, my parents rented a house for the week as sort of the home base for the wedding. And they rented this house, and it was just totally random. We had a welcome party that like my brother and his wife threw for us. We had like family and friends come and, you know, kind of hang out during the day before the wedding. All my girlfriends got ready here. And fast forward, my husband and I ended up buying a house down the street. We had 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, and a dog, and we were bursting at the seams and looking for something new, and this house came on the market. And so 10 years later, we bought this house, and it was kind of like meant to be. We knew the owners by then. We were like, this is the only house for us. And so it was like the most perfect serendipitous sort of thing to have this house fall back into our hands after having it be like the center of our wedding over 10 years ago. So it's been really fun to like make it our own, and we loved, you know, some of the things you'll see about the house. Like there's some really unique pieces of the house. It's got enough space to house all of my crazy kids and guests and stuff. And so we also just love being so close to town. We can walk in for coffee in the morning. We can ride our bikes to dinner at night. It's just far enough outside of town that we're not like competing with traffic, but it is the perfect little gathering spot for, you know, after a long day at the beach or just to like cozy up in the off season. It has like kind of everything that we were looking for. So this is the den where I would say my kids spend 90% of their time if they're not on the beach. So I wanted to make this space cozy. I wanted it to be a comfortable hangout space, but also super practical because they're also normally sitting on here in wet bathing suits. So I wanted to bring in a lot of color. I wanted to make it fun and playful, but performance fabric was the name of the game for getting a nice big comfy couch that my 4 kids can sit on, and usually about 10 more friends. So at any given point in time, there's like 15 kids sitting on this couch, all grouped around watching some summer movie or doing something, you know, kids want to do in the summer, friendship bracelets, all the fun little crafts and stuff in here. And I wanted to also make this room feel comfortable enough in the winter when it's chilly here and it's windy and it's gray, but bright and fun enough for the summer months too. And so really pulling in this kind of fun sort of periwinkle blue was it felt just really right in the space, maybe hydrangea color, kind of like Nantucket itself. So this was really a big moment of like fun color in the house.
This rug is like one of our favorites. Molly and I both saw this rug through our rep. It is custom, it's available in any color, and I think when we both saw this, we both really fell in love with it, and it had to go somewhere.
And it felt like it popped really perfectly off of the white painted floors. And so this room used to kind of be a white box, and I wanted it to be a little more of a moment than what it was before. And again, I couldn't have anything be too nice or too precious or too delicate. And so, I mean, half the time my kids are jumping off this table using that as their landing pad, but I wanted something that would be durable, that would give a nice cozy thing for everyone who's rolling around on it and stuff, but also be a nice spot for them to kind of crash at the end of the day without feeling like I had to be watching over them with every step they took. And we also covered the walls in this vinyl T-bow wallpaper that gives the impression of the room being wood paneled, which I think adds to that kind of cozy den feeling. Again, just as cozy in, October, November, December as it is in the summer when we want it to be a little brighter and more fun.
And it's such a nice juxtaposition to coming off of the entry, because it is the first room you see when you come in, the formal entry for the house. So it was really nice that it accomplished that, but also it's like visually, it's a really nice breakup for a lot of the white that's going on when you first walk in.
And one of my favorite little things that I made sure to get in the house, my husband loves to scallop and do anything fishing and all those sorts of things. And our friend Charlie Clark is a photographer, and he does lots of cool things. And he caught this picture of my husband scalloping on his birthday one October when they were diving off, getting all their bounty for an awesome scallop dinner. So made sure to include that because it's his favorite thing to do when we're up here. So throughout the house there are plantation shutters, which as Jess and I, when we normally decorate, we include fabric window treatments. We love the coziness that a fabric window treatment, a Roman shade, a cafe curtain, or curtain panels will lend to a room. But this whole house had plantation shutters, and I couldn't bear to take them off. And they just felt so beachy, and they felt so right for the space. And so on a nice, beautiful summer day, we have them wide open. It's like kind of just this really bright and airy sort of feel. In the winter, they might be closed more. They might give us a little more privacy, but they really kind of frame the whole room nicely, especially when they pop off the wallpaper. It kind of still feels like its own window treatment, even though they're wooden shutters. These two little pieces of art, my husband and I love this little art fair in Bedford, New York. They do it every winter, and it's a combination of like local artists and photographers and some crafts and stuff, and we always pick up a few pieces. And these are actually not seascapes of Nantucket, they're of Westport, Massachusetts, and they just kind of felt like the right little thing to put in the corner. But we always pick up a few pieces because they're just so charming, and there's always a nice spot to fill another space on the wall. And those are the right kinds of pieces of art to find, where you just see something, you love it. Maybe you don't have a spot for it right away, but you'll find a home. Yeah, you'll find a home for it. And so I think that's when we look for art, we're not like looking to be fancy collectors and buying these like crazy expensive pieces. We're just buying stuff that
I think if you love it, you'll find a home for it and it'll work.
Yeah, even if it like goes in your kid's room or a bathroom, like there's always a nice spot to fill. And so we always try to find a few pieces that we can adorn our walls with and just have a nice little spot to cozy up.
And we have a really little table setting here, just assuming that your kids are having their morning juice here and everything. The vase is antique from Antiques and Artisan, which is like our absolute favorite place in Stamford, Connecticut. You have to go. It is literally my
it's
my
a treasure
mecca.
trove. Yeah, it's a treasure trove of styling items, antique items, handcrafted items.
Incredible.
Yeah. You can get lost in there.
It's so fun. You can walk through and you see Bunny Williams will have tagged these items that she's taking for clients, and it's an incredible place. So you'll see little items throughout the house that are sourced from there, which maybe aren't truly sitting there when the kids are jumping off the coffee table.
Yeah,
but
when it's their launch pad. But
they're not here, so they're there for now.
Exactly. It's okay. They're safe for now. So why don't we come into our entryway now, which funny enough, we don't always use the front door of the house because when my kids have their sandy feet, we come in through the side entry. So I like to keep this a little more for guests and formal time. But the painted floors we had done by our friend and our amazing artist, Shelley Denning. She came up here. I had seen a pattern similar to this that she had done in another home a few years ago, and I had been waiting for the right place to use it. And funny enough, a lot of clients are skeptical about letting us paint their floors, but
We're getting more and more.
yeah, every time we do it, somebody says, I am so happy we did this. And so we painted the floors with this sort of like beachy, fresh, fun pattern colors to kind of just make this feel like a truly different space than the den and a truly different space than the dining room, which you'll see in a second. But this is my little desk area where in the summer I try not to do too much work, but there's always, we call them design emergencies. Somebody's always got something where you can find me kind of hanging here with my laptop doing a few things, but I try not to do too much when we're up here with family and stuff. My cute little key holder, I guess. This is actually my grandfather's, and he used it to hold all of his boat keys. None of them are boat keys anymore. My husband is quick to point out, but they're different keys from different spots in our house that we never lock our doors here. Yikes. But they just kind of live here. And keys from our old house. There are some like antique keys that we found over the years, but I just love kind of keeping this little thing here for just a little nod to my grandparents who were big boaters and loved nothing more than fun nautical summertime adventures.
Mary Maguire is like one of our absolute favorites.
Yeah.
And this framed me. This is one of my favorite pieces in Molly's house.
If you ever have a chance to catch Mary Maguire's art at Brimfield, or she has a great website with a ton of awesome offerings. They are just a nice way to add some fun character to your space. We love styling with them. We love using them. We have a lot of awesome projects in Cape Cod or throughout New England, and they just sort of scream.
They're fun, they're funky, they're folky, and I think they really work in absolutely every space. She does some that are like Indian themed, and she has alligators, and whether you're in Florida or here, they always work. They're really fun.
You kind of can't go wrong.
We love her.
She's got some great stuff.
Yes.
This fun little whale, every year around Christmas, they have the Christmas stroll, where it's a big kind of fun festival tourist weekend, but it's also a great chance for an opportunity to get like crafts and locally made art. And we got this probably 10 or 12 years ago at one of the stalls at like the Christmas stroll market, and it lived in our old house up on the ceiling, and I think my son thought it was pretty scary, but now as he's gotten older, I think he can appreciate that it's just kind of a cute whale, and it's a nice nod to like not just like local Nantucket artisans, but also Nantucket's history as kind of a whaling mecca, a whaling port. And there are all sorts of different variations of local art we've bought from the island or like hand carved things, but this little whale just felt like he belonged right kind of when we walk into the house, and he's not so scary anymore, I think. When you walk in, there's this center hall that's kind of like the epicenter of the house. The kids are always running through it. It's like this wide, welcoming sort of entryway, and right off the entry is this little sitting room that we're in. That's kind of our second family room. With 4 kids and like a house full of guests, we always need 2 places to kind of congregate. As you walk through the house, the dining room, which is kind of its own little entity, its own little world, is right off the entry. And then the back of the house is the kitchen, the other family room, and it kind of opens very naturally to the outside. Upstairs, there are 4 bedrooms, and while we gave our kids the choice of like, which bedroom do you want when we moved in, all of my kids sleep in the bunk room because they all want to have, the top bunk is theirs, and it's kind of this nice little kid-centric spot. And so it's really nice to have sort of the front of the house for the kids, the back of the house for more entertaining, and it's a really natural flow to the outside. So it's really kind of perfect in the summer when doors are open and kids are running in with sandy feet and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of started doing some things, and then I said, Jess, why am I doing this by myself? We need to be doing this as a team. And also, it's really hard to do your own home sometimes.
It's very hard to make decisions. Like, it is so easy with somebody else's house to kind of like get in there and make something, I think, just a little quicker because you're not less personally attached to it, but you just don't overthink it in a way that I think you do when you're the one permanently stuck with it. And that's true with clients too.
We see that all the time. I always liken it to like a wedding dress. People really hem and haw over decisions because they're like, well, there might be something else out there that I love more. Yeah. And I want you to love everything in your house, and I want to love everything in my house, but sometimes I need just to kind of take a step back and be like, this looks really nice. You don't need to agonize over every single fabric or pillow or throw blanket, even though we do agonize over those decisions too. But it's really helpful to have this sort of back and forth that we have, which is how we do it with clients and how we did it here. I would, we'd come up in the off season, I would FaceTime her. If she wasn't up here, we would bring all the samples back to the office. I would bring pieces of furniture back to Connecticut with me so that we could like
have the upholsterer or like measure it and do the chair and all that stuff. Yeah. And it's a new house. Like Molly just bought this recently, so I think this was a great excuse to get it done. But it was a little bit of like a a race to the finish.
Well,
so
it also helps when you have a real goal in mind, and a lot of people, because they use these homes in Nantucket as summer homes, everyone wants it done by like Memorial Day, or they want it done for the summer. And so it's kind of nice to say like, okay, I know that we want to be able to entertain. So we want to make sure the dining room is ready for the season, or we want to make sure that we have a comfortable place to watch TV. And so like, it's nice to get this sort of like deadline in your head of saying like, Jess, we need to make some decisions. I could spend forever poring over fabrics and wallpapers and all the various components that go into the house, but some of it's practicality. I want to be able to use it when we're up here, and I don't want to have empty rooms. And part of it is, what makes sense to get in here quickly too.
Yeah, and I think, it's a beach house, it's being used. Molly has 4 kids, and I think this is probably general to our business as well, but it's not probably a pace where everything has to be super precious and overthought. You want it to be comfortable. You don't want to wring someone's neck when they get sand on something. So I think that was kind of part of the thought process, like make it easy, make it look nice, make it comfortable.
Yeah. Kind of pick and choose where we want to use performance fabrics, pick and choose where we want something sort of a found antique piece versus something brand new that might not be quite as delicate. And there's a nice mix of all of those things in here. There's some things that are old that were my grandparents that I probably don't want the kids to touch. And then there are some things that are basically foolproof. Yes. And so there's a nice kind of blend of that. And Jess and I do a good job of sort of weighing those things. Like what can be the more precious kind of special moment, and what can be durable and smart. And at the end of the day, it is a beach house where kids are rolling around here in wet bathing suits, so it needs to be that too. And now we can make our way into the dining room, which is one of my favorite rooms in the house.
It's incredible, as you will see.
First and foremost, the ceiling is just really unique, even for a home in Nantucket. It is kind of an ode to a Nantucket whaling ship, and it's designed to look like the hull of the ship. So it's just this like really beautiful woodworking craftsmanship, and it's kind of perfect for a more formal, cozy dining space. We love to use this room for dinners with friends. We use it for holidays. In the summer, it's really more like a game table and a puzzle table. But in the off season, it is, my husband will go fishing or scalloping and get dinner to cook, and we'll host a dinner here, or we'll have Easter here. The wallpaper is Audrey Stirk Designs. She has this incredible collection of wallpapers that are all murals, and this one was just my absolute favorite. Audrey knows I pestered her a little bit because I really wanted to get this pear tree, and I wanted to get these beautiful pears. We I just love the color yellow, and we were able to kind of pull the yellow and tie it in with some of the seat cushions. Jess was skeptical on the chairs at first.
Well,
I think.
and we were joking. So, and Molly may have mentioned, but sometimes in Nantucket, a house comes at least partially furnished, just because it's so hard to get furniture around and over on island. And there was like 20 of these chairs in the house. So I think replacing them would have been sort of an unnecessary and very large project. So,
and they were good chairs. They had really beautiful woodworking. They're so charming and so great. But
to soften the space, which I think was the point, we had our upholsterer in Connecticut, who is
our favorite,
the love of our lives, make these like beautiful, beautiful chair cushions and covers in one of our favorite fabrics that just really pulls from the yellow. And I think there's so many good colors to choose from in here, and it just...
The wallpaper is so fun because it's obviously a mural, depicts like an early Nantucket scene, like sort of a pastoral scene. And so everywhere you look, there's something different to see. There's the ships, there's the boats. As you pan around, there's different animals. There's like a little bird down here. My kids love catching the ferry or Brant Point Lighthouse. And so there's so many fun little things that every time you see the wallpaper, or like every seat you're sitting in at the dining table, you see something different, or your eyes kind of focus on something. My kids love like catching a little view of the old St. Kitty Lighthouse in the corner. There's just like so many fun things to continually bring your eye to, or to see, and colors to pull from, as Jess was mentioning. Obviously, I said this a few times, but the house always felt like a ship or a boat or something. There's so many nods to like this nautical
whaler.
Yeah, like all of the kind of like very maritime sorts of things. And the prior owners had a giant fish hanging from the ceiling over here. And my husband loved it. He wanted something just as big and statement, but we didn't have a giant fish at our disposal. So what I did, though, have at my disposal was this wonderful little ship. So my father and my uncle and my grandfather were maritime lawyers, and they dealt with all sorts of ships and boats and all legal issues that arise from the ocean, I suppose. And I remembered that he had this model ship hanging in the basement in storage somewhere. Nobody had really taken it out. Nobody wanted to claim ownership of it. And so my husband and I brought it up here, dusted it off, got it in the house, and it kind of fit perfectly in the space. And after cleaning it off, we realized that it actually says Young America down there, which was a perfect little fit for our family. And so just like so many things in this house, it kind of felt like it was meant to be here and meant to live here and meant to live in this room. So it was just kind of the whole room kind of came together very organically. Like this wallpaper looks like it was always supposed to be here. The boat looks like it was always supposed to be here. And these chairs now have their own little, little outfits on. So we love that too. And as we move from the dining room, we kind of flow naturally into the kitchen, where the kitchen is obviously where we spend a ton of time. We love to entertain. We love to have family and friends up here. My kids are always asking for meals and snacks. Imagine that. But what I love about the kitchen and this whole back family room is the floors. The floors are these beautiful herringbone brick floors, which not only look really pretty, but they're really practical. So, sandy feet, spills, all that kind of stuff. It could not be a better foundation for a beach house, right? We can do whatever we want to this floor, and we're pretty much not destroying it. When we come on back into here, again, this is more the adult hangout space, I would say, where the adults spend their time. We, have a little TV hidden in some of the built-ins. We have a little breakfast nook in the back where my kids pretty much eat all of their meals if they're not eating outside. And it's just kind of full of things that, again, make me happy. I love the color yellow. I love probably more yellow than a beach house should maybe have in it. I love yellow, so I always try to incorporate it in anything I do. I have a whole room at home that's yellow because I love it so much. But I wanted everything in here to be, again, like durable. I wanted it to be fabric that my kids could really lay on and lounge on and all that kind of stuff without being something that I was, you know, upset that they would ruin or destroy or, you know, get too wrapped up about that.
I think just from an outside perspective, the floors, there's built-ins everywhere, there's shell detail. A lot of these things I think make the house feel much older than it truly is, which were beautifully done. And the paneling, there's really just so much detail in here that it's warm and cozy. And I think that was just really well executed by the builders. So
we always feel very lucky that we have so much storage in here, that we have so much kind of like, so many little nooks and crannies, so much like natural character that just stayed with the home. Even though it feels, again, like Jess said, some of these like original details, nothing feels old. It doesn't feel like collecting dust sort of old. It feels
it feels like it was like just
very
beautifully built the way, you know, the way they used to build things. Maybe that isn't always quite the case anymore. So the attention to detail is just really, really incredible.
Yeah. I would say that this little breakfast nook where, again, my kids eat a bajillion meals a day. We love adding a breakfast banquette or a breakfast nook to pretty much any kitchen project. We have clients that say, can I fit something like this in my house? As evidenced by this tiny little one. Almost always yes. You can always get something really cute and fun. And I love adding a little eat-in area in any kitchen that we have because it's just a nice, you know, it's a nice way to start the day. It's a nice place to have a cup of coffee. It's a nice place to just have, a proper seated meal. When so many of our meals here are, you know, sandwiches on the beach, this is a nice little opportunity for
place to start the day.
Yeah, them to sit down and
then
all
there's
that fun stuff.
two. Again, we talked about Mary Maguire. We love her. The one, the whale rider, I think is my like.
The Nantucket sleigh ride.
Yeah, it's so cute. So again, her artwork I think just like is so fitting for this house, but particularly this one is one of my favorites.
It fits so well off of the wainscoting too. The paneling, just kind of anything we hang on it really gives. Just I think there's like such a nice juxtaposition of it. As we were mentioning, and we can come over to here, the fireplace. I probably wouldn't have chosen like shell detailing and this like kind of fancy molding for here, but it works so nicely with the other woodworking. And this was kind of the perfect place to put this art that my aunt and uncle gave us for our wedding. It was our wedding gift. And so we always kind of struggled with where to display this in our home in Connecticut. It just like didn't feel like the right thing, but it kind of matches. It actually has almost
the little
the same
shell detail that matches, which is
very
cute.
Again, so much about this house feels like serendipity, feels like it was just meant to be. And so it's kind of like, I can't argue with that, right? The built-ins give us so much opportunity to store, you know, family photos and little knickknacks that, you know, we've collected or my kids have collected over the years. Nothing in here is like fancy, curated. It's all just family pictures. It's my kids, their cousins. It's, you know, my mother-in-law. It's all like happy, just things, again, that like we look at and we're like, oh yeah, I love that. It makes me so happy. Actually, this chair came with the house. This was something that I did not want to get rid of. And what I ended up doing is just recovering the seat. The seat was a little well-loved, I would call it. But I would say 99% of the time when my dog is here, my sweet dog Rory, this is her chair too. So she loves just cozying up on anything I freshly reupholster. That's her spot. So that's kind of like her favorite little spot to sit in. And I think the brick helps keep this room nice and cool in the summer too. So I think that you can find her here most often.
We've done this a couple of times. We actually saw it somewhere and we're so taken aback by it. It is this Serena and Lily coffee table that is not meant necessarily to have a cushion, but we saw it done and thought it was so ingenious because I think Molly and myself, at least I personally love to put my feet up and get cozy when I'm watching TV. And there's something about a soft ottoman that just really lets you sink in and feel at home. And this is also one of our like favorite fabrics with the yellow.
And I was gonna say, this backgammon board doesn't always live here because my kids use the pieces as cookies, but Jessica from 9 Fair Backgammon, she is local to us in Connecticut and local to us here, makes these really beautiful handmade backgammon boards.
And they're works of art and they can be customized. Obviously Molly's is.
Yeah. And so this
Great wedding gift. They're
no,
fantastic.
we absolutely love them. And
Yeah.
it's kind of the right place to have a game and game nights and puzzles and all that type of stuff too. A lot of times when Jess and I are decorating a home, our own homes, or our client's home, we repeat fabrics, and we're not afraid to use something that we've used on the windows to use for pillows, or like you'll see, we've used this as the ottoman cover and the pillows as well.
Just makes everything feel a little more cohesive.
Especially when it's open. So this family room is directly next to my kitchen banquette. And so repeating the fabrics that have been used as the chairs and the kitchen cushion as the leather chair fabric really helps to make the room not feel too busy or too overwhelmed. Especially, this isn't a huge space and I don't want anything to compete, but there's repeating fabrics that are pulled in kind of thoughtful, intentional ways, and we do this all the time. We use this in rooms where there's an open floor plan layout. We do this in bedrooms. You'll see one of the bedrooms upstairs. I've repeated a fabric on pretty much everything. We just love being able to pull in something from one space to kind of tie it into another without, I don't think it feels boring. I don't think it feels like overdone.
And sometimes we'll pick like, one inspiration or jumping off point, like this Sister Parish fabric is one of my favorites. I know Molly obviously really loves it too. And just having it here and there, it's kind of along with this other one, it's really what is kind of like setting the theme for the room.
I also think with a color like yellow, and I know, again, I love yellow. But a color like yellow, a color like red, a little goes a long way. So kind of the base, if you took away some of these pillows, if you took away my ottoman here,
it's a
room is
blue and white.
And so just by putting in a few pillows with yellow in it, all of a sudden the room is yellow, blue, and white. And so we do this a lot with like a little pop of red or a little pop of something that people might not feel as comfortable using as like their base, a purple maybe.
Well, I think everybody, and I mean, we live in coastal Connecticut. We do a lot of Cape, Nantucket. I think a lot of people come to us and they're like, well, I love blue and white, but I don't want my whole house to be blue and white. And so I think you can have sort of a blue and white base even in every room. And as long as you're pulling in some like really fun prints and other colors, your house isn't going to feel like blue and white threw up all over it, which I think is kind of important.
Yeah, and again, like being able to repeat fabrics, it helps kind of keep the story, keep the theme going. Jess always uses this line with clients. She's like, I want everything to feel like it's at the same party. So they don't have to match perfectly. Like the yellows in this Nancy fabric are not exactly the same yellows as in this Sister Parish
but
fabric.
They sit well together.
And they feel like they're at the same party. And they help tie in the corner kitchen banquette with the rest of the room, so that everything looks like it's meant to live together, cohabitate nicely. I think
Exactly.
So one of the things, and there wasn't a ton about this house that we wanted to change structurally or anything that we wanted to change the feel of it. But this room was really dark for whatever reason. I think some of it has to do with the paneled ceilings. There were only
not a ton of recessed light. Yeah.
Three recessed lights in the whole family room. And this side of the room felt really dark. And the plantation shutters, even though they're wonderful for privacy or for blocking out too much light, they do tend to make things darker, especially on this side of the house. So adding some lanterns and adding a little light over the breakfast nook felt like just a no-brainer to get a little bit of warmth, a little bit of comfort. Jess and I love adding sconces in a lot of rooms. Sometimes people say, oh, can I do, just a table lamp? And table lamps have their place, and they are perfect we love sort of like that ambient lighting, but adding sconces is another like great way to cozy a place up, to again, make it look like it's always been there.
It's also really nice to like bring your eye. Obviously, artwork does this, but it's sort of bringing your eye up to a different focal point so that you're seeing some of the other details that are, again, not at eye level necessarily.
Yeah.
It's kind of allowing your focus to move about the room and take everything in.
And I know that sconces aren't always possible in, you live in a rental or maybe the wiring isn't there. But I think it's something that's almost always worth the investment, is to install hardwired sconces, whether it's next to a bed, like as the nightstand sort of lights, you'll see I have a bunk room upstairs. I added a sconce in every single little bunk so that everyone has their own individual light. And so I think it's
a little jewel box detail.
Yeah, I think adding hardwired lighting is really something we are huge proponents of and we love doing.
And I will say now too, and that didn't really exist even when we first started, but there's companies like Pookie Lights and stuff that now do lights that are like battery charged. So even if you can't hardwire, I think it's worth it to put them up, and it just makes your home feel a little more custom.
Exactly. I feel like I've mentioned it a few times already, but my husband is like the ultimate hunter-gatherer forager. He loves when he's up here fishing in the fall. He loves scalloping seasons in the fall. And while he is collecting our dinner, the kids and I will hang out on the shore and collect scallop shells way out in Nantucket or Smith's Point. And I was joking with Jess that I don't allow them to get half shells. We really always have to look for the perfect whole shells.
It's hard with kids. Sometimes their idea of beauty is a little different.
Over the years, we've trained them. And so, no, I'm joking. But we try to collect sort of the perfect scallop shells. And it is such a Nantucket sort of pastime to scallop in the fall and have some awesome Nantucket-based scallop dinner afterwards. But the scalloping in the fall is one of my husband's favorite things about being up on island, and it's just such a different feel than the summer where your days are spent hanging at the beach, kind of beating traffic, this and that. October suddenly feels like warm days, very chilly nights, and like an awesome glass of red wine with your fresh scallop haul. So it is one of our favorite times to kind of come up and get to do some of the off-season stuff too. So we absolutely love that. Usually after a day at the beach, we come in from the side porch. As I mentioned, we don't use the front door all that much because it's a little more formal. That's like for guests who come on in. But so my kids come in the side porch, and again, this kind of acts as our mudroom because this is where they come in. First, they have to go into the outdoor shower, rinse off, get all the sand off of them, and then they come in through here. So this is like our family entrance, I would say.
One of my favorite little surprises in this house that I didn't know about, everything is beautifully paneled, so everything sort of blends in, and there's this like super sweet, cute, hidden powder room. And I think this came with the house, but I just thought it was so adorable. Somebody had fun and, make your own pottery.
Yeah, come out and climb something.
It's just such a sweet moment, and this like amazing Lace Indians wallpaper that again is just an homage to Nantucket and the whaling and the boating.
We love to make a powder room like a jewel box, and this is not the glitzy glam jewel box. It's more of just like a little.
It's just such a cute little hidden, and again, you wouldn't even know it's here.
I
went nautical.
Yeah, I went very nautical. I mean, I know it's cliche to do too much nautical stuff in a beach house, but it felt like, again, the house has so many little nooks and crannies and things that are built in that it feels a little bit like a ship or a boat, especially the kitchen with sort of it's like galley style narrow kitchen. But since everything is paneled, it keeps everything so neat and tidy and really does kind of feel like a boat in some ways.
Yeah.
Like the countertops are wood instead of like a stone, which feels so homey, and obviously that's not for everyone. They're not a butcher block either. They're like a real
It's like a real lacquered wood.
Yeah, so again, really feels like kind of the ship. All of the ceilings still have the paneling. Everything kind of has a place hidden behind the cabinetry, but it's the perfect sort of, it's not a huge kitchen, but it's not, I'm never wanting for more space, right? Everything has a place, everything has a little home, and everything is just within an arm's reach without being too crowded and cramped. So it's kind of a really perfect little beach house kitchen to get me all those little breakfasts, make those few big dinners, but really when we're entertaining, we love to entertain outside.
Like every story starts recently during COVID, we kind of were chatting. I knew Molly, our husbands knew each other. Obviously we both live in the same town. So we kind of were both like, yeah, we'd really like to do this. I used to do merchandising for J. Crew before having my first child. Molly worked at Goldman last, and we both kind of found ourselves looking for something to do. So we kind of just on a whim decided to do it. We had a great first client who just really trusted us to do her house, and it went great. And we've been very fortunate to be super busy ever since.
I think it has kind of grown from friends or people just looking for help to more, we have clients now that reach out to us from, quite frankly, across the country. We have people who we've never met before reaching out to us, which is, we are so fortunate.
That was a real like pinch yourself moment. They're like, oh, I loved your Instagram. And,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Those kinds of things still like catch me off guard. I'm like, oh, I can't believe you found us or you were kind of drawn to us. But what really started as like, yeah, let's do this and let's see if, people will trust us to make decisions in their home, has turned into like just something that we probably couldn't have imagined 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's full time. We've got really nice gals that work for us that are holding down the fort at home. So it's awesome.
Yeah, it really is kind of there are obviously some things that come with the territory, furniture comes damaged or something comes in the wrong color or there are unforeseen circumstances, but most, I would say like 95% of the time, I'm like, I can't believe somebody pays me to do this.
It's great.
But it's fun to kind of push clients outside their comfort zone with, decor decisions. It's fun to like see how I would do something versus how Jess would do something versus what the client was pictured. Like it's really so gratifying at the end of the day to see things come together, to see how people use the space. I love like catching little candid snapshots of our clients on like their own Instagrams, like just snapping their kids sitting on the couch. I'm like, ooh, we picked that couch and we knew that was how it was gonna be used. So it was like, it's really fun to see how these things translate to like everyone's everyday lives, I guess. Yeah. It's a fun perk of the job.
We've had some really good clients. We've really lucked out on that. And I think that's probably what has helped us grow is we've truly lucked out on some of the clients that we've had who've just really let us do what we want, which makes our lives
fun,
so much better. And I think it makes the finished product so much better. So we're very thankful.
Yeah.
Molly and I's ethos as designers, I think we love color, we love pattern. I think more than anything, I have 3 children, Molly has 4. We have 3 dogs between us. We want things to be comfortable. We don't want them to be too precious. I think almost every client that we have has children or has grandchildren. I think we've had maybe one client in our lives who is not concerned about how things wear. So I think it's balancing things similar to how we talked about Molly's house, things looking beautiful and crisp and bright and fun with being super practical and just lived in and loved.
Yeah, we really want to design rooms and homes that people are going to really live in, right? We're seeing this kind of shying away from super formal, even living rooms or super formal dining rooms. Like we still have some really unbelievable, formal spaces, but I think where we get a lot of requests are for, I want to be able to use this every day, but I want it to look really nice. And so that kind of combination of classic, fun, and I can look at this every day and sit on this every day and not get tired of it. So fresh and making sure that it's something that, it really follows the client's, their overall lifestyle. They have a lot of kids. We want it to be playful. If it's, a more formal space, like making sure that it's got that, level of special that really shines at the holidays or something. But
and I think it's like using, different periods and different styles. So like if, a house is super traditional, making sure we throw in something that's a little more funky, a little more modern. I heard, I don't know who said it, but I was recently watching the interview and a decorator was like, you never want to be the oldest thing in a room. I think that's super important to us. Like if everything's new, we need to find some really cool antiques just to kind of mix it up and just make it feel like it was a little more organic than just like fully done in one fell swoop. Yeah, I think that's definitely our goal anyways.
We try to eat a lot of our meals out here in the summer. It's the perfect little spot for either a fancy little dinner entertaining friends, like a little lobster dinner night, or it's just as nice for our kids eating pizza or hot dogs and hamburgers out here too. And so this is like the perfect little oasis. We're right by town. I can like still hear all the fun stuff happening in town, but we're in our own little private spot, or after dinner we'll come out here with a glass of wine. It is like the nicest little space to have. We feel very lucky. You know, there's, especially as you get closer to town, a lot of the property sizes are very small. There's not a ton of outdoor space. This is like something that we feel very lucky to have, this little postage stamp sized backyard and terrace.
But perfectly done. It's really well manicured. I was saying, like, the flowers are incredible in person.
I am not a gardener. I am lucky to have inherited sort of these flowers.
The climbing roses, like it really, I don't even know if you can tell over video, but it is just so stunning out here.
It's a nice little quiet spot to kind of unwind after a long day, or even though none of the days here are all that hard, quite frankly, but or to start your day with like a coffee out here. It's just like the perfect little spot to host, to sit by yourself. There's never really a bad time out here. So we absolutely love just having this little spot. I would say that I love sitting out here reading a book, but that's really, with 4
rare.
kids, really not possible.
We have this set envisioning like having a really nice New England lobster dinner with some rosé.
Yeah, we enjoyed ourselves some fun stuff last night out here. So it does get its good use. But there's just enough yard for my kids to run around and play, but really the right amount of little patio for us to have.
And also like a really nice detail from the brick out here and inside, and there's this beautiful bluestone inlay. There's a lot of continuity, and it really gives a great feeling of some like indoor-outdoor entertaining and flow.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's all part of the same
Purposeful
space.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty much all of the time we have this door open so that it's kind of this nice little in and out, feels like one big extension of the same room. Usually you can find my kids and my dog running around down here playing soccer in the grass or cornhole or something. And it's just the right amount of space to run around without being, too much, because we want to have some nice little patio too. And so this is kind of our nice little spot to have a glass of wine. We all enjoyed some wine ourselves last night out here. A good little sort of place to unwind after the end of the day. We, kind of always think about how we want to use this layout. Like, do I really want to have lounge chairs? Do I really want to have Adirondack chairs? Like, what do I want to use as this space? And having kind of multiple seating areas, actually, despite the fact that it's a small space,
it's really successful here.
Yeah, it like
everybody's got their own little spot.
Jess and I always talk about how actually adding furniture to a space, people always want to feel open and stuff like that, and we totally get that, but adding more stuff to a space gives it more utility. And if there was nothing over there, we would just be standing around, so it doesn't really make a ton of sense. But and
I think it can make a space feel larger too if done correctly.
Yeah, agreed.
Just because you're using every portion of it and living in it.
We feel super lucky that we have these awesome gardens and these pretty flowers that, quite frankly, I will just cut and put into vases. Our old house, we had a big, beautiful side porch and had a huge American flag. That was kind of just this, it like felt like summer to me. It felt like the little cottage that we had. We just loved it so much, and so we knew we needed to have the same thing out here. This is just our little shed. All of our beach stuff lives in there. All of our bikes live in there. All of our beach toys live in there. And as you can tell, all of the little houses are so close together here, but that's what it is, kind of living in town. And again, at the end of the night, Mike and I will come out here, we'll have a glass of wine, we'll kind of recap the day. And it's just like, it's so nice to, at the end of a long day, our kids are kind of sleeping inside. We feel like so lucky to have a little recap, maybe the dog will join us too. And it's kind of like the most idyllic little setting to watch the sunset way out in the distance and hear all the little fun sounds from town. That's kind of our favorite way to end a day, I would say. But most nights you can actually find us grabbing our bikes and heading into town for dinner, which is the best perk about living just far enough outside of town that we can always go to one of our favorite restaurants. It's just a bike ride away, so we love that too. No beach house is really complete without an outdoor shower, especially after a long day at the beach. My kids are little sandy monsters, so we make everyone come to the outdoor shower. I think it's actually everyone's preferred shower of choice. in the house anyway, but it's kind of the perfect natural place to desand and then come into the kitchen, where again, this is our de facto mudroom as well. So it's kind of a multi-purpose space, but it's, you know, even through October, it's the best shower in the house for sure. The house was probably built, actually, I know the house was built in 1998, 1999, and there's actually...
Doesn't feel like it.
I know. There's a row of houses that all look the same from the outside, but they're structurally different. They're laid out differently on the inside. The house has only had, I think, 2 or 3 owners before us. We actually know the prior owners. The wife is a decorator, and she left us with a beautiful kind of really wonderful bones of the home, and they left us with nothing bad. We, you know, it's not like when you move into a house and you like uncover all these bad things. We were like, how nicely kept was this? So we're very grateful to them. But the house does have a lot of natural sort of character in it, and you'll see as we go through, there's a really beautiful ceiling in the dining room that looks like it could be, you know, it looks like it could be in an antique home, and there's really beautiful brick floor in the kitchen and family room. That
all the beautiful transoms. I actually didn't know. I had no idea. I thought it was an older house.
Yeah, it has a lot of
reads that way.
Very. It has a lot of really charming characteristics that feel very appropriate for Nantucket. They feel very purposeful. That they've been here forever, and. You know, our last house in Nantucket was a very old house, and what we've learned is that we love that style. I love like good old bones, but sometimes it's also a little practical to have something that is a little more modern to keep it like...
Especially when you're not here.
Yeah, like air conditioning working and all those sorts of modern trappings of everyday lifestyle. So it's kind of a nice combination of... It feels very authentic. It doesn't feel like it was just plopped here, but it also has some nice. It feels comfortable on the inside, which is a huge thing. When, as Jess said, we're not here all the time, so to be able to just come on in and have the home be sort of its own living, breathing thing that is ready to go, and it doesn't take a ton of opening up or shutting down is really, really key too. Actually, one of the things I love to do in a home, new or old, that I think just automatically sort of imbues some character is painting floors. Like, I think that, like, it doesn't work everywhere, but a lot of, even if it's a powder room or a mud room or a bedroom upstairs, and obviously it translates so well to a beach house, but I love a painted floor.
We do it all the time in houses in Connecticut, in New Canaan, that are nowhere near the water, and it fits really well there too. Just as like such an added special thing that I do think it's maybe more something that's like, oh, someone was really thoughtful in this house and they like thought outside the box, and it's not, you know, something that's super, I don't even say common, but it's fun. It's like an added little like, oh, this is so special, or
it's funny, something that Jess and this house does not reflect it, but we love window treatments, and I guess plantation shutters in their own way are a type of window treatment, but there is not a single curtain or Roman shade or anything in this house, but our clients would probably
like
laugh
our number
at us.
one. I know. If people are like, well, what can I do to make this room feel finished? It's always probably a bigger carpet. Your carpet's too small for the space, and you need window treatments.
And I think window treatments, I know people love to see the beautiful, you know, trim around the windows, or they love letting the light in, and there are so many ways to do window treatments without bothering the way the light comes into the room. There are so many, cafe curtains are a great way to add like a ton of character, but we love getting, especially if you're not going to do wallpaper, if you're in a rental or something and you can't put wallpaper in, you could still get something covering the windows or kind of adorning the windows so that you get some pattern, some softness,
just
on
makes
a
it
white
feel,
wall.
so much cozier. I think it's like, and I think in everything that we've said, carpets, painted floors, it's the layers that make things feel cozy and lived in, and I think in the end, that's probably what makes a room successful versus not successful. Like if you even go to a show house, like the amount of stuff that they bring in to make it look lived in and layered is kind of, I think, what makes or breaks it.
But And again, this house is not the best example because it has plantation shutters everywhere, but I think that adding something to really layer your windows is going to give you that, that's like a really good first step. It's a daunting first step, but it's a really good first step. There are so many things we really love about the house. One is our history with it. It's like kind of frames our whole wedding week. It just has such like wonderful memories for us. The location, we are so close to town, like can pop in at a moment's notice, can take some of the kids while somebody's napping and hanging back here. It's so easy to just kind of get to right the heart of downtown without being right in the heart of downtown. It's so easy to get there. But I think the house in general, and it's hard maybe to get it from just a video, but the feel of the house. It feels so cozy and comfortable. Yeah, it feels homey, but it just feels very comfortable, and it feels really like summer to me. Like it feels like this is where everyone's running around in their bathing suits. Everyone's, coming in after a long day at the beach. It just feels so really what a beach house, summer house should feel like. And it's got a lot of like cozy hangout spaces. It's got a lot of like comfortable places for you to, sleep at night, and it has a lot of space to entertain. And it's not a huge house either.
Like the back patio is so cute, the landscaping's so cute. Like there really isn't a space that is not just super cozy and welcoming. And
yeah, and so it just really feels like, when we step off the ferry,
breathe.
Yeah, there's like this sigh of like, okay, we are away from like the everyday, and it is just you're really like transported to a different, like this is vacation, right? It feels like a place to come and relax and unwind, and like the most important decision is like, which beach do we go to today? It's really our, slow mornings, kind of feel of a place. So we just love it. So upstairs we have all of the bedrooms, but the most important bedroom is the bunk room. We wanted to have a space that was very kid-friendly and I could contain them, and just kind of felt like summer camp or something kind of fun for them to have their own little hangout, their own little bunk cabin space sort of thing. So I have 4 kids, but I wanted as much sleeping space as possible. So we were able to get a full-size bed down here. The rest are twins, but more than likely it's a, capacity for like 8 kids at any one time because everyone just kind of bunks up together. But we wanted to make it super charming with a nice little, little light for each kid to read at night, not to disrupt the siblings, a little
cute enough for water.
Yeah, waters and
books.
I'd love to have them read their books every night. This room also needed a ton of storage, so we have extra storage for all of their clothes and shoes and all that fun stuff.
We put cleats on for nautical.
Yeah,
kind of a nautical nod.
Yep. And I wanted to make it easy enough for even the littlest kids to get up the bunks with stairs and then just small ladders, not, big ones they were gonna break their necks jumping down off of. The hand-painted fish on the doors, these were actually original to the house. There used to be 2 sets of matching closets, both with hand-painted fish on them. And my son follows in his dad's footsteps and is a huge fisherman. So when he first saw the house, he said, this is definitely my room, right, Mom? This is definitely the room I get. But we had to do away with one of the closets to make enough sleeping space, but we were able to maintain these ones, which were hand-painted by a local artist on island.
Wasn't there a cute story that she?
Yes, so when we had to get rid of the other closet, and I didn't want to just toss the doors. I thought maybe somebody could repurpose them or do something nice with them. So I just posted them on like the local Facebook group to see if anybody wanted them. And the artist who originally did them actually was like, if nobody else takes them, I'll take them back. I did these like 25 years ago. So it was nice to make sure they found a good home. But they're very cute and very appropriate for my son, who just absolutely loves to fish. we covered the walls in a vinyl wallpaper. So it is, but we always say vinyl's a nice word for plastic, but it is very durable, wipeable. We love this big Trixie print. It's a Scalamander wallpaper originally, an Albert Hadley print.
It's one of our favorites. It comes in a couple of colors, and I feel like, especially in a beach house, it always feels right.
It does well. And
Always.
then the tennis rackets, I've collected a few of them over the years, but the original one is my dad's. My dad was a big tennis player, and we love tennis in his house, but this was actually my dad's original tennis racket from way back when they used wooden tennis rackets, and the rest of them I just collected over the years, and they felt like the perfect place to get them on the walls in here. We decided to also, again, paint the floors in here. Again, felt like super beach housey, super, Americana vibes with the blue stripes on the rug popping off. The rug is a super durable indoor-outdoor.
I think it's also a poly.
Yep. So it's got, it's as durable as they come. And I really wanted to make this room, again, someplace that my kids could kind of use as their own. Nothing felt like they were going to break it or destroy it. And so I kept all the sheeting to like pretty minimal. I didn't want to go anything fussy. We wanted to have it, be super kid friendly with little quilts to pull over, but nothing fancy in terms of
Also bunk beds. If anybody has them, knows how much of a pain in the butt they are to make.
Yeah.
So I think the quilts help hide.
The less sheeting, the better. Especially for my kids who don't make their beds. So
A pain in the butt.
it was pretty perfect for that. We love incorporating bamboo pieces into pretty much all of our projects, unless somebody has a super like modern style. Yep. I always think we find a place to get some little bamboo side table, a console, a mirror, and in this case a dresser, which was the perfect thing. We love these Kenyan home pieces. They're like some of our favorites,
but they don't really look like it. I think it's a very easy way to have something look like an antique that, especially in a dresser, you want to be practical and kids can get in and out of the drawers.
Society Social sells a ton of them as well, and we love them. Again, they go in probably at every project we do. These actually was an original book that I had from when I was little, and I brought all of them up here because we have so many bookshelves to fill and so many places to kind of store things and store books. Sweet little bunny from Nantucket Bookworks down the street. My kids love going in there. It's one of their favorite little stops in town that doesn't involve getting candy. Otherwise, that's Force 5 or Town Pool or Barnaby's. So those are their other favorites. And then we have a Vornado fan in every room because my husband is really big on summertime sleeping with airflow. And we love the sort of retro vintage ones. They're one in every room because our guests have to feel comfortable too.
So I know earlier we kind of discussed little ways of kind of making your house feel finished, polished, like home. And I think as decorators, a way that at least I really love doing it in Malate too, doing like a shade that doesn't necessarily come with the lamp. So it's another place to get some fabric in, and it just really elevates a room.
A lot of times clients will ask us, like, do we really need to get a shade, a pattern shade to go on the lamp? And 99% of the time we'll say, I think you're going to love it. And they end up They end up really loving it.
Or at least like a nice pleated shade. But usually I think the biggest trick is if your lamp for the most part came with a shade, toss the shade.
Yeah.
Get a new one. It goes a really long way.
And now we'll take you over to the primary, which is just down the hall from the bunk room. So close enough that I can keep an eye on my kids, but it's its own little private space that feels super light, super bright, super airy. When we first moved into the house, just because the home felt a lot like a ship, the bed in here was actually built in. And so it was a queen size bed built into the floor and the wall. So very much reminiscent of a true ship with its kind of a fixed bed. And we are not proud to admit that our dog sleeps with us every night. So we knew we needed a bigger bed. And we also just wanted to kind of transform the master to make it look a little more like our own. And so we are lucky enough that on the second floor we have very high ceilings that aren't quite vaulted, but they're much higher than the first floor. We brought the Sister Parish wallpaper. We love Sister Parish. They have the most wonderful prints. They can do no wrong. Exactly.
And I will say another favorite is is just this pinler stripe, as you will notice.
Yeah.
It's all over.
Well, this is another good example of repurposing fabrics in multiple places. I have this Lisa Fine print on the bed, and then also along the window seat pillows. We have the pinler pinstripe as the headboard and bed fabric, and also the window seats and cushions. We love kind of repeating fabrics, especially in this room where there isn't a chance for window treatments and fabric on the windows themselves because of all the plantation shutters.
It softens it up.
It keeps things looking cohesive. It doesn't look too busy. So there's really only 3 or 4 patterns in the room, but it doesn't feel boring. And keeping it all kind of one color. We love to keep primary suites and masters feeling very serene, like a hotel, like you're gonna stay in a spa overnight sort of thing. So that's kind of the vibe we're always going for with a nice, relaxing space to come home to at the end of the day.
Like Mary.
Exactly. We also love getting flowers and produce and everything locally. Bartlett's Farm has a ton of stuff, and these ones are from Moore's End over on Pulpus Road. They just have the most beautiful, sort of wild-looking flowers. They have farm fresh eggs. At Christmas time, it's like the best place to stop in and get your Christmas tree. It's like a little winter wonderland. But something that's actually really fun about Nantucket is that there's a lot of awesome local corn and tomatoes, and Bartlett's has pick your own strawberries, and they just have no end to the amount of stuff you can get locally, that's locally grown, that's used in the restaurants. It's such a fun, sustainable island. They obviously care a lot about the locally grown and locally sourced items, and it's really fun to get to participate in that when you're here too.
I think what really makes a house a home is, I feel like we've probably touched on this a good amount before, but I think it's how you feel in the house. And again, it's just not being too perfect. It's the little things that have good memories. So, everyone really freaks out about a ding in their table, and I get that from a design standpoint, but and maybe not a ding, but there's things that have happy memories in it, and you want to look back and be like, God, I lived my best years there, and I don't know.
Yeah, and I know it's what makes a house a home. You always say, oh, my family, big, but I think that it's also creating a space that feels inviting to want to be there. And so part of having this home in particular is we wanted to be able to have family and friends up and kind of fill all the beds upstairs and sleep a million people upstairs and host dinner parties. And so I think it's really, at the end of the day, you want it to be someplace you come home to at the end of the night that
you're excited to come home to.
I feel so happy to be here.
We want, especially people are like, oh, with my master, everyone wants their bedroom to feel like a hotel room, but in the best way. You want to feel like you're at the nicest 5-star resort when you get in there and you're happy and you're not stressed. And I think in general, even though life is chaotic, your house should be a place that kind of just where you can really, take a breath and
I always say,
be proud of all that you have. I guess,
I always say, when somebody will ask me about, oh, should we do this in the house, should we do that in the house? And I love using sort of my own experience. And I say I have this in my home and it makes me happy every time I look at it. And I love really being able to walk in this front door and be like, oh, this room makes me so happy. I love how this rug looks. I love, there are things that just make me so happy. And so sometimes it's a collection of happy things that kind of come together. And I think it, doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but if it makes you feel happy every time you look at it, I'm like, it's great. That's what I want in my home.
Homeworthy, thank you so much for coming. We had such a blast. We were so looking forward to this. So thank you.
Before you guys go, take a quick look at the sign. All the houses in Nantucket have cute little sign names, kind of puns and quirky things, and ours references our family and our 4 kids, so it's a little something special. Have a great summer, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.